Hi, is this thing on? Oh, good. Okay, so y'all can hear me. I'm really excited to be in your beautiful city. When I was asked by Sarah to come out, I was like, who the heck am I? And are they crazy to call me out here? Because I think that I just do what I do and I enjoy doing it. So I cook at a restaurant in downtown Manhattan. And it's a vegan, kosher, organic, mostly gluten-free restaurant. So I'm used to all the allergies. I'm used to all the weird requests. Like, people ask us, like, can you make me something without garlic? You're coming to a Jewish restaurant and you want me to make you something without garlic. This is a problem sometimes. But you know what? We figure it out. We sort it out. We work it out. So, you know, I cook at the restaurant 8 hours a day, and then I come home and I make my dinner for my husband every day. He gets fresh dinner every single day because he's the love of my life. He's my pride and joy. This is what I do. I love to cook. I love to feed people. So last night I got into Sarah's house and she wanted to know, you know, do you want to go out? Do you want to do anything? Her husband picked me up from the airport. It was like 9 o'clock Eastern time, but I think it was like 8 o'clock, you know, space time here. And I said, you know, Sarah's not home yet, so why don't we make her a snack? And her husband was like, you just flew all these hours and you've been, you know, whatever, so why do you want to cook now? And I said, no, let's make Sarah a snack. So we went through her cupboards, we went through her fridge, we found all her potatoes, we found some cornmeal and some flour, and we made Veggies. Veggie is basically a vegetable that's been dipped in batter and deep fried. I think that's the best sentence you could ever say. Dipped in batter and deep fried. So we made sweet potatoes and red potatoes and Idaho potatoes, like we went nuts. And we made about like 5 pounds of it. And when Sarah came home, not only did we drink 3 bottles of wine, we also ate the entire 5 pounds of bhaji. So when I say that I love to cook, it's an understatement. Like, I love to cook. So the first dish I'm going to show you is what's called a Dal Tarka. Now, tarka is a North Indian technique where you pop some spices in some hot fat. And what you do is that you get your pot and you throw in some oil. And if you're in the north, you're probably going to add more oil than if you're in the south. The difference between North Indian and South Indian cooking is that in the north, they use a lot of fat and they're not shy about it. They don't play around. So let's say for like a pound of beans, they would use about a half a cup of oil. Yeah, I'm not joking. Like, this is north, but it's so delicious. And so what you do is that you throw the oil into the pot and you turn it on to high heat, and then you sprinkle in whatever whole spices that you like. Now, today I made this one really basic, so the only spices that I used were cumin seeds, fennel seeds, coriander seeds, mustard seeds, and turmeric. That's a very, very basic, like, simple one. The more complicated ones would have what's called a garam masala, where it's cloves, cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeg, black pepper, bay leaves, like a bunch of other spices that are all ground up into a powder. And what you do is that you start with the whole spices and you fry them with the oil, and then you add your aromatics. Now, aromatics are anything like garlic, onions, ginger, peppers, celery, carrots, anything like that. And you stir fry them with that spice and oil mixture, and then you add your turmeric, and then you add your beans, and you do whatever you want. Today, what I wanted to do is I wanted to make this recipe more accessible to people who don't have easy access to curry leaves, which is what we would usually use in India. So instead of using curry leaves, I used basil. Basil is fairly easy to find. Basil? Sorry. Oh, sorry. I grew up watching Julia Child, so like, I say things like basil and oregano and things like that, and people get very confused, and it's fine. So I heated the oil in the pot and then I added the seeds, and the order does matter. You always start with the mustard seeds first. You can use yellow mustard seeds, you can use brown mustard seeds. In India, we use the brown mustard seeds, but I know it's easier to get yellow mustard seeds in the local stores here because that's what Sarah got when I said mustard seeds. It works, it's fine, it'll be fine. You start with the mustard seeds because they take the longest to pop. Once the mustard seeds are popped, and because they take so long, let them pop, then you add the fennel and the coriander. Now with coriander, because it is so large and so kind of hard on the teeth, you kind of want to crush it with a pestle and mortar, or if you don't have a pestle and mortar, throw it into a Ziploc bag and like roll it with a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, use a wine bottle. If you don't have a wine bottle, use a hammer, use a pot, use a pan, whatever, you'll sort it out. You'll figure out how to crush those seeds. So once those seeds are crushed, you throw that in after the mustard seeds and the coriander seeds, right? So the coriander seeds go next. And then the last thing you want to put in is cumin because it pops really, really quickly. Oh, by the by, I don't want to sit here chattering at you guys this entire time. So like if anybody has a question, stop me, stand up, scream at me and say, hi, I have a question, you know, so ask me things. This is meant to be, you know, interactive. I'm not going to just ramble on for forever as I'm capable of doing. So anyway, so you add the mustard seeds, the coriander seeds, then some fennel, and the cumin seeds last. Cumin seeds always go last. And then because I don't have any garlic or onion in here or any other kind of aromatics, this is meant to be a very basic dal, I added the turmeric after turning off the heat. The reason that you have to add turmeric after turning off the heat is because it burns really quickly. However, you don't want to add turmeric raw. It tastes disgusting if it's raw. What happens is that once you bloom it in fat, it has this wonderful earthy aromatic smell. It smells amazing. And if you were walking by the kitchen, those were the smells that you were getting, were all the seeds and the turmeric and everything else going together. So once all that was done, then I added in the basil leaves, and I've got some cans of beans here. And you can use any bean that you want. It doesn't matter. You can use, you know, your soaked beans that you've boiled. You can use beans from the tin, as I'm doing today. When I told Sarah buy any beans, she looked at me like I said press the any key, and you don't know where the any key is on your keyboard. She said there's like 25 different varieties of beans. What do you want me to buy? So I said, buy whatever's on sale. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be organic, free range, whatever. Just get beans. I just need beans. So she went and she said, okay, what about kidney beans? What about black beans? I was like, yes, get all the beans. It's fine. It's great. So she went and she got all the beans. And so here they are. So what I'm going to do is with the water in there, I'm just going to dump them right here into the spice blend. And it's really easy because like, this doesn't take any amount of time to do. When you're heating up the oil in the pot, that'll take you maybe about, you know, like 30 seconds or so if you have a good gas stove. And if you don't have a gas stove, I'm sorry. If you don't have a gas stove, actually what you can do is get an induction stove. If you go on Amazon, you can get a really good induction stove for about $65, give or take. And they're more powerful than those horrible electric coily stoves or those flat top thingies that are, no electric stoves. I'm not a fan. And it takes about 30 seconds to heat up the oil, and then popping the spices takes about a minute. This recipe is sort of in the book. When I say sort of, there's like a modified version where you use a tin of tomatoes as well. But I wanted to make this really basic. So all I'm doing is I popped the spices, and now I'm mixing the beans in together, and that's it. That's it. Like it's a dinner that can take like 5 minutes to put together. Yes. I use peanut oil, canola oil, or some kind of neutral flavored oil. I do not use olive oil because it doesn't get hot enough to pop the mustard seeds. I don't use sesame oil for the same reason. However, in South Indian cooking, we use a lot of sesame oil for cooking because it's got a really great flavor. So what you do is, do you guys mind if I talk about oils for a little bit? Okay, cool. Okay, so there's cooking oils and there's finishing oils. Okay, so a cooking oil is something like a canola oil, vegetable oil, peanut oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil. They stand up to very high heat cooking. And so what you want to do is start with a cooking oil and use a very small quantity of it. And then when the dish is done, add a few drops of the finishing oil so you get the flavor. Like a really good extra virgin olive oil costs a fortune. Like if you're getting like a good proper extra virgin olive oil, you're gonna be paying about like 20 bucks a liter. And that should last you about a year. Why? Because you're not cooking with it. You're gonna finish with it. So you start with the canola oil and cook your onions and your garlic and your aromatics and the spices and the rest of it, right? And then at the end of the dish, when everything is cooked, just add a few drops of the olive oil and you're gonna get that flavor really, really strong. Like it's gonna come right through. Rather than if you cook with it, all the flavors is gonna get, evaporated into the air and you're not gonna taste it. It's not gonna taste right. And so like if you've noticed those really fancy Italian restaurants, what they do is that just before serving the dish, they'll drizzle like a little bit of olive oil over your dish and it tastes amazing. And that's what they're doing, is that they're starting with the cooking oil and they're finishing off with the really expensive extra virgin olive oil. So yes, very, very, very good question. So you want to use a neutral flavored oil whenever you can, because it's not going to cost you as much, number one, but number two, it's going to get hot enough so that your spices actually pop. So here we go, mixing this up. That's dal. That's it. Like, seriously, that's it. 5 minutes. Yes, go ahead. My thing with the GMO, organic, whatnot, is that I would love to be able to buy those kinds of things, but they're really expensive. However, they do sell non-GMO oils at Whole Foods. And it'll specifically say on the bottle, non-GMO. Actually, if you buy any kind of organic oil, it's not allowed to be GMO by the federal regulations. So if you want to avoid GMOs, buy organic. But I can't afford that, so I buy whatever I can afford. But if you want to avoid GMO, buy organic. It's really easy to find in most grocery stores anywhere you go. Yes, you kind of have to improvise with what you have. It's fine. It's fine to use the water that the beans are packed in because it's not going to hurt anything. It'll be just fine. And the thing is, you've paid for the water. Like if you're making your own beans from scratch, fair enough, throw out the water. But like those tins of beans are like $1 or $2 each, and it's like, are you serious? Like it cost me $1.25 to buy a pound of chickpeas, and I think that's overpriced, personally. But those beans are freaking expensive, so like use every last bit of them that you can. Yes, let's do the quinoa next. So, okay, so there's a story behind this dish. And I keep going through, this is not okay. Like, why did the gloves hate me? Anyway, so when I was a kid, growing up in South Florida, my mom would go to these vegetarian potlucks and these vegan potlucks so that we can be exposed to other people who don't think we're crazy. Well, crazy for those reasons, not crazy for the other reasons. And every time she would go, she would take what's called lemon rice. Now, in South India, you have this tradition called kalanda sadam. Kalanda sadam literally means mixed rice. That doesn't make any sense to someone who doesn't speak Tamil, but the thing is that you get a bunch of spices, you get whatever other ingredients you want, and you mix it with the rice. Like, that's what it is. And one of the most popular ones is lemon rice, and it's one of my favorites, and it's apparently everybody else's favorite because my mom is an excellent cook, and she knows how to make pretty much anything you ask her to make. And every time we would go to a potluck, a party, a housewarming, something, they would always say, "Can you make the lemon rice?" And the curse has passed down the family because I'm a chef, I work at a restaurant, you ask me to make something, I'll make it for you, and then they keep saying, can you bring lemon rice? And I'm like, yes I can, but ask me to make something else. Anyway, so this is quinoa. It's a whole grain. I would prefer that you eat quinoa rather than rice because it's very healthy, it's loaded with protein, and it's freaking delicious. And if you want to cook it in the rice cooker, what you do is that you take the measuring cup that comes with the rice cooker, you use 3 of the rice cooker cups of quinoa, and you fill it up to the 4-cup line in your rice cooker. So basically the same as brown rice. Brown rice quinoa cooks with the same amount of water. So we didn't have a rice cooker yesterday. So what we did is that we took a giant pot and put it on the stove, and it took how long to boil? Like 70 hours. And we threw the quinoa in there because this is a lot of quinoa, as you can see. Because I wanted you all to have a taste of this because it is an amazing dish. You've got to try it. And the same as the Dal Tarka, it starts off with those basic spices. You start off with some hot fat, you throw in some mustard seeds, some cumin seeds, and turmeric. And if I had the chance to do it, I would have also put in a ton of ginger because I love ginger. And if I also had the chance to do it, I would have also thrown in a ton of chilies. However, I know that not everybody can eat hot food, so I was going to be kind, and I said, okay, let's not do any chilies, let's not do anything that's going to be painful. So what I did instead of putting in nuts is I put in sunflower seeds because I know a lot of people have nut allergies, and this is how I make it at the restaurant, is that I use the mustard seeds, the cumin seeds, and I use sunflower seeds rather than nuts because, like I said, in the restaurant we get all the people with all the allergies who ask us for everything to have nothing in it, so you know what I mean? So what I'm gonna do is, this is the spice mixture, and after the heat is turned off, throw in as much lemon juice as you have. And the reason I say lemon juice and not squeezing lemons is because we don't live in Florida. I'm sorry, we don't. And the citrus up here is garbage. Not up here, I don't know about your citrus, but in New York, it's garbage, it's horrible. So what I do is that I buy the bottled lemon juice. There, I said it. There, I said it, okay? So like, I buy the bottled lemon juice because I find that the quality of the bottled lemon juice is actually superior to the one that you squeeze yourself because I'm sorry, the citrus is horrible. I lived in Florida, I know citrus. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this spice blend and dump it onto the quinoa. And you can see that it's like a little bit wet, and the wetness is coming from the lemon juice. So here we go, and we're gonna mix it all up together. And this is it. Like, if you were doing this with rice, what you want to do is cook your rice and spread it onto a cookie sheet so that it cools off, because if you try to mix it while it's hot, it's gonna mush, and that's not a good look. So rather than, mushing your rice, all you want to do is just cool it off so that it, hangs out on the platter. And I'm like, look at how easy this is. This is ridiculous. It's not right that so many people ask for this, when I can make so many more complicated dishes. They keep saying, yes, go ahead. Okay, so supposing that you have, let's say, 4 cups of rice, not cups, but like the rice cooker cups of rice in your rice cooker. You want to use about 3 tablespoons of oil and about like 2 teaspoons of mustard seeds, 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds, and about a ½ teaspoon of turmeric. And then throw in as many nuts as you can get, if you like nuts. Again, since I'm not using nuts, I threw in as many sunflower seeds as I could get. So, that's how it works. Did someone else have a question? I think I saw someone else's hand. Yes, go ahead. Basmati. Yes. This is one of the few times when I'll tell you to use basmati rice for South Indian cooking because it's so fragrant and it's so long grain and it's so beautiful and it's wonderful in lemon rice or any other kind of mixed rice. If you're making South Indian food, we tend to have a lot of like soups and stews and things like that, and you want the rice to actually be a little bit on the mushy side because it tastes better that way. But with mixed rices like this one, and this is why I chose quinoa, because it always stays fluffy when you cook it in the rice cooker. It doesn't break up. Like, look at how rough I'm treating this. I'm not being gentle or delicate at all, and it's still staying beautiful. It's gorgeous. So, you want to use a basmati rice, but again, spread it out on the cookie sheet for about 30 minutes so it cools down, then mix it. Go ahead. No. Not at all. You can do it right when it's hot, and I love that about it. It's so easy to do. And I know it's a little bit expensive, but quinoa is something that we should all be eating more of anyway. And, I know expensive. I understand. I'm cheap, so yes. So, okay, so when you're popping spices, what happens is that you start off with hot fat, and you throw the whole spices in there in that order that I mentioned. Always mustard seeds first, always cumin last. Everything else goes in between, right? And what happens is that the mustard seeds will take anywhere between 45 seconds to a minute to pop, because they take a long, long time to pop. But the cumin seeds barely take 15 seconds. They're really, really quick to pop. So you'll hear them pop. And one of the nicest emails that I got was from this woman who said that she's blind, and she didn't find another cookbook that told her what to listen for and what to smell for and what to do. With my book, because it's on the Kindle now, she can have it read out loud to her through the Kindle. And she said, yours is the first cookbook, since I've gone vegan that I've been able to use, because you tell me what to look for without my eyes. And that's what I want you guys to do. Don't just use your eyes, use your ears, use your nose, use everything, because this is not hard. It's very easy to do. Popping spices, you can hear them popping, and oh, here's the other thing, and Sarah experienced this. When you put the pot on the stove and you put the oil in there, and then you put your spices in, step back, because they're gonna pop, and then they're gonna come flying at your face. And it hurts. It hurts a lot. Don't mess around with popping spices. They taste delicious, but for God, it hurts. Couple of minutes, and that's why I'm saying the Dal Tarka is so easy. If you have a can of beans and you have those spices, and you don't even need all the spices that I used. You can even just stop with just cumin seeds. You can do just coriander seeds. You can do whatever you feel like having around and throwing in. It's fine. You got no problem with improvising, and that's the point. Is that I don't want you to take these recipes as word of God. I want you to take them and kind of improvise with what you have. Here, guys, they're ready for the quinoa, and I'm ready for the kale. So if you put it in the rice cooker, you want to use 3 of the rice cooker cups and fill it up to the 4-cup line. Fill up water to the 4-cup line. You understand? You know how it has those lines on the side? Okay, good.
And now seasoning?
Pardon?
Seasoning, how much was one?
That was the one that I said where the 3 same exact one, yes. Go ahead.
You said this, but I missed it. What were the ingredients for the lemon rice?
Lemon rice is, when I make it at home, is mustard seeds, cumin seeds, nuts, curry leaves, and ginger and chilies. But the way I made it here is mustard seeds, cumin seeds, a little bit of coriander seeds, turmeric, and also turmeric. It needs turmeric to give it that yellow color, and lots and lots of lemon. As much lemon as you can throw at it. Anyone else? Yes? Yes, absolutely. Because my issue with ground spices is that they lose flavor really quickly. The second that you grind a spice, the volatile oils start going, and it's within within like a couple of days it's gone. It's not gonna taste the same anymore. So I always use whole spices whenever I can. If I grind my own spices, I use it that same day and that's it. I will never use like pre-ground spice mixes, except curry powder. Because it's so cheap and it's so easy to get.